Hi! Okay, so I changed the location because I thought the lighting would be better, and it's so much better. So this is kind of unrelated to my book, but when I was looking up some things about schizophrenia, I came across this other disease that is also, it has the same hallucinations that schizophrenics do, and it's often confused and misdiagnosed as schizophrenia when it's really not. So it's called Charles Bonnet syndrome, and what happens is these patients go through, for multiple reasons and some unknown reasons, hallucinations and vision loss, and it says the differential diagnosis is an elderly patient that includes psychiatric diseases with prominent psychotic symptoms. They're usually older people who get this. Such as bipolar disorder and neurological diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. So they're also misdiagnosed as other mental illnesses because of these hallucinations. And I have a picture of Charles Bonnet, and he was a Swiss naturalist in the late 1700s, and he was a philosopher, and he studied his 87-year-old grandfather, and he said that he recognized that his grandfather was clear thinking, and that and that the hallucinations were associated with vision loss. And he was alert to external stimuli and everything around him, and he was very intelligent and still there. But in front of him, he saw figures of men and women and birds, bird cages and buildings. All of these appeared to be seated in the part of the brain that involved sight. So he actually found out that it was not a neurological disorder. It was actually, it wasn't a mental illness, but it was in the brain associated with the occipital lobe and vision loss in your eyes. And I have a picture of what someone who has this would see or would hallucinate. So the picture on the left, well, I think this is backwards. Yeah, it's going to be backwards. So this is the picture of someone, this is the normal scene, this is what we would see, and then someone who was hallucinating or had Charles Bonnet syndrome would see all of these other things. Like there's a monkey climbing on this post, and I think that's a dog, and just things that aren't there, but these are actually really vivid pictures, really vivid hallucinations that can turn into delusions because they actually think that these things are real. It also says that some surfaces could be covered in non-existent patterns, such as brickwork or tiles, while others see phantom objects in astonishing detail, including people, animals, building, or whatever else their mind may conjure up. It may be a case or a cause of macular degenerative disease, which is a disease where certain light-sensing cells in your retina start to deteriorate, and it can potentially lead to blindness. They can also see faces of people, and sometimes these people are of deceased family members, random people that they don't know. They can have faces that loiter in eerie silence as they make frequent eye contact with the viewer. And curiously, it says that a great number of these imaginary characters are described as wearing hats and sometimes elaborate costumes in different time periods. So one of, like, a Victorian time period, often with top hats. So people see some really weird stuff. There's also some other examples that said this man who had Charles Bonnet syndrome would see animals in his house, and he would even go as far as to killing, spiders and insects that were in his house that actually weren't there. And they think that why these people see all of these different things is that with your lack of vision, your mind tries to compensate for that shortage and adds things in, and it can be these really random things that they add in, like the spiders or the people or the monkey on the stop sign. And they think that it's also connected with the same portion of your brain that generates dreams. So when you're having a dream and you have details that you need to fill in, your mind will fill them in with random little bits and pieces, and they believe that that might be the same area that's compensating for your visual loss. And so basically these people would come in with a syndrome that would be cognitively there and be okay with everything else mentally. It's just that their vision was having problems, and the fact that they were having hallucinations pointed more to the direction of the brain rather than problems with your eyes. But they did find out that some problems can be a combination of deterioration with your eyes and also with certain mental disorders. But I thought it was interesting that schizophrenia, because it's so hard to diagnose, is often misdiagnosed, and other things that aren't schizophrenia are also diagnosed as schizophrenia, because as rare as it is, they share a lot of the same symptoms as other illnesses. So, yeah, I just thought that was interesting.